Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the West Coast Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Frias Guzman. And on today's episode, we'll be talking about, of course, all three teams. I will be starting off with the Lakers, as they have a little bit of stuff going on. Of course, just continuing to look for that number 14 spot as to who's going to be taking over that spot. Most likely being a big man, of course. The team has kind of even talked about who that it's going to be a big man. So we'll just definitely talk about some of the different options that the Lakers have there, who they currently have on there, and just kind of maybe a little bit of how the team is going to look like overall this year. Afterwards, we will be talking a little bit about the Dodgers. Actually, we'll do the Raiders, then we'll finish off with the Dodgers. So with the Raiders, as you guys know, we're less than a few days now. Less than a week away now from getting the week started, or getting football season started again with the regular season. Thursday night football with the Lions and the Chiefs is right around the corner. This year I'm actually involved in fantasy football quite a bit. Got a league of my own, got a league with my coworkers, and as well got a few other random leagues as well out there. So definitely great to go in and be more involved with football. So I definitely will be able to go and give you guys that aspect of football, not just only about the Raiders, but as well talking about the NFL as a whole. So we'll talk all about that. We'll talk about the Raiders and how the team is starting to look like now that the team is finally down to their 54-man roster. Now that Josh Jacobs has joined, but he does not count against that 53, if that makes sense. But pretty soon they will have to cut it down one more guy and then make it the 53-man roster before they go ahead and hit the field, going up against the Broncos. So lastly, we will be finishing up with the Dodgers, as they had a nail biter last night against the Atlanta Braves at home. Ended up losing 8-7. Really, the game was kind of lost in the very beginning. I think it was the second inning that the Braves ended up coming away with like 6 runs in one inning. So definitely, I feel like that kind of caused the game right from the get-go. But the Dodgers did make a fight out of it. They tried to go in and get their way back. Talk all about how Mookie ended up doing his best to go in and help out the team to go in and get back to winning, or at least to win that game. But we'll talk all about that here on today's episode. It is episode 149. Recording this on an early Friday morning. It is Friday? It's actually the first of the month, so everybody wake up. It's the first of the month. If you guys don't know, that is a Bone Thugs and Harmony reference. If you guys don't know, definitely go and check them out. One of my favorite rap groups of all time. Absolutely different style, but just to give you guys a little bit of background on myself and my kind of music and everything that I like. But if to get right into the podcast here, just want to remind everybody right before that you can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Twitter as well, or X. It's going to be West Coast Pod 702. Again, that's West Coast Pod 702. Plus, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube, where this is also going to be uploaded. It's going to be West Coast Sports Podcast at gmail.com. Or actually just the name of the podcast, but that is my email address where you can find me as well. So with that being said, let's get right into the podcast here, guys. The Lakers, as we all know, are still searching for this number 14 spot, for this big man that they're supposed to get for that number 14 spot. And honestly, I'm starting to think that it's going to be most likely Colin Castleton. If they go into this training camp, this mini camp that LeBron does every year here in Vegas, as a matter of fact, where the weather is kind of the weather's a little bit different. Usually it's hot and dry around here, but we've been getting it's monsoon season. If you guys are not from Vegas, or you guys don't know about Vegas, we get some time of the summer where it's called monsoon season, where we get a lot of this moisture from the Pacific Ocean and everything, of course, that just comes on in over here, just isn't able to make it over all the mountains and everything to get out, so it just unloads a bunch of water and moisture and everything here on us here in Vegas. So for those of you guys don't know, definitely now you know. So definitely LeBron's trying to go and get this this mini camp going here in Vegas, and I'm really thinking that he's going to invite Colin Castleton, maybe some of the other G League guys or two-way guys, maybe just to kind of see what they got. I mean, we all know that Austin Reeves was invited, and that's exactly how he got his actual NBA contract, by impressing LeBron in minicamp and basically LeBron just letting Rob Pelinka know, like, hey, this Austin Reeves guy, we need him on the team, not on a two-way. We need him on the NBA squad. So that is as simple as how that can happen. But the chances of it happening again, I mean, still likely, because we've seen what the guy can do. He's not going to be the center who's going to get the majority of the minutes or anything like that. We can kind of see that it's going to be Anthony Davis, maybe Jackson Hayes doing that. And then if you have Colin Castleton as a backup there, especially if you want to play two big men, say you have Colin Castleton and Anthony Davis on the floor at the same time, that would be pretty nice. Say you want to put Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis, have Anthony Davis play more of the four, then you still have Jackson Hayes there to protect the rim a little bit, to be that rim running, or you can flip it around. Jackson Hayes is actually really, really good at protecting not the rim, but actually guarding players on the perimeter, so if you have multiple guys, if you have two big men that can actually protect the rim and as well guard some guys on the perimeter, then you really struck gold there. Now, if you get a guy who's a big man like Colin Castleton, like a Jokic, who is able to facilitate from the middle of the floor and facilitate pretty well, and he's big enough and agile enough where he can pick up the ball or rebound the ball and start moving right away. Now that's definitely something that's special. I wouldn't mind seeing exactly what this guy can do, but it is just time's going to tell. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen when it comes down to this. There's all kinds of rumors that basically the Heat and the Blazers and the Trailblazers are just in the middle of some kind of negotiation, but they always seem to run into like an impasse. I'm pretty sure at some point, especially if Dame Lillard continues to go ahead and mention how he wants to go and get out of there, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. But only time will tell. If something like that happens, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some more movement going around. It seems like really just the whole league is kind of on a standstill because of all this, similar to the whole Kawhi trade or the Kawhi move from a few years back. So it's really just going to kind of come down to just seeing what happens, or what's going to, basically, just what's going to happen. But I really think that at some point the Lakers need to just make a move just to know exactly what the team is going to be or what it's going to look like, and they could just move on forward from there. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have some sort of an opinion, or if you guys have like certain players that we think that we should be looking at. Maybe Bismack Biyombo, maybe Christian Wood get tired of just standing around, waiting around, and they finally call up the Lakers and be like, hey, I'm ready. Or hey, I'm good. I'm good to join the team, or whatever the case is. But we'll have to definitely see what happens with all that, though. The other things here that I did want to bring up, just to go ahead and transition on into some of the other teams that I wanted to talk about here today. We got to talk about the Raiders, as they are just a few days away now. A week and a couple of days away now from getting the season started for the NFL. Maybe a few days less than that. Away from it being this Thursday. It's really just a waiting game now. I don't know what it is about this season. Maybe it is because I joined fantasy football and I have other reasons to look forward to the season. Not to go to make it sound all bad that I'm just thinking that the Raiders are going to be a bad team again this year or something like that, but I am thinking that the Raiders are actually going to be pretty damn good. There's a lot of people who are really underestimating them, who are just counting them out already. I don't know whether if it's because of what happened last season, or just history, or whatever the case is, but I'm really thinking that they're going to be able to show up a lot of different people, to show everyone exactly what this team is capable of. You have a lot of guys who are big names who are going to be able to fuel this team into a winning team, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys have been listening to this podcast, but if you have been listening to my podcast for quite some time, you guys would know that one of my first interviews with an actual player was with Josh Jacobs. Talked to him right before, or day before, their softball game that they had for the Battle of Vegas and everything that they have out here. And I had asked him at that time, what is it that you're going to be doing, or how are you going to be implementing, your winning mentality that you got from playing at Alabama, from having that kind of that pedigree, for this team, and having that pedigree of always being a winning team into the Raiders. And he was always talking about that he was mentioning that he's more of a guy like that leads by example, so to say. He's not so much of a vocal leader, but he's gonna show up every day, work hard, show exactly what it takes in order to become a winning organization, in order to become a winning team. And I'm thinking that he has done that, similar to Devontae Adams, similar to Max Crosby. You have these guys in positions, in empowering positions, to go ahead and motivate, not necessarily even motivate, but just to show the rest of the team, what it really takes, how hard you have to work in order to get the success that you want, in order to get the results that you want, And it's, to me, in some opinions, or in my opinion, that's really what you should have in all cases, because nobody should need to go ahead and be motivated verbally or something like that, or even physically, like actually pulling somebody or pushing someone towards what they need to be doing or what they should be doing. That's just too much. If you're doing all that, that person needs a little bit more self-motivation. And I really do think that that's what the team ultimately ended up doing over these past couple years, is they got rid of the people who just did not share the same values as other people, who did not have the same outlook, or did not have the same vision as everybody else on the team, if that makes sense. Other people there probably, maybe they and I don't want to talk bad about anybody, about any team or any players or anything like that, but I can easily see if you have some people there who have their own agendas, who are just there for themselves, not necessarily for the team, then that's ultimately a bad, like, it's not a good person to have in a situation like this, where everybody has to be working together in order to go in and build success. You need to go to make sure that you have everybody bought in, and if you don't, then you're gonna see that easily. Of course, talent can always hide stuff like that, but ultimately, if you don't have everybody bought in, if you don't have everybody on the same trajectory, or the same same game plan, so to say, then it's going to be very noticeable right off the back. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think that this team is actually on that track in order to go and build something. I'm really thinking that this team is going to be capable of making the playoffs. We have been counted out again. People are thinking that the Broncos and the Raiders are going to be fighting for the worst team in our division, and so on and so forth, but I really do think that we can actually surprise some people. But again, maybe this could be me just drinking the Kool-Aid again and thinking that my team is going to be great every single year. And maybe that might be true, but only time will tell. Only time will tell. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think that even in my opinion, I think the Raiders can at least win like maybe 10, 11 games this year. But again, we'll see. Let me know what you guys' predictions are. Let me know what you guys think about this team, or if you guys think I'm just blowing smoke or something. But hope you in order just to kind of wrap up today's podcast here, guys, I hate to transition just like that, but let's go ahead and talk about Dodgers here, as they had a pretty it was pretty rough. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the first part of it, where pretty much Dodgers ended up going down from 1-0 to 6-1. And it just kind of stayed that way for a little bit. Mookie Betts did everything that he could in order to go in and try to get the team back. Max Muncy did as well. Even towards the end, you had Will Smith, Freddie Freeman. They tried to do everything that they could in order to go in order to set this up for the Dodgers to win. Right at the bottom of the ninth and everything, you had Will Smith and Freddie Freeman on base. Then you had a couple different batters. You had Enrique Hernandez, who actually struck out. Then, who was it before? Max Muncy. He actually flew out, so at least he actually made some contact. But in all honesty, that stuff like that in baseball is always going to happen. People might even say it was all because of the starting pitcher, Lance Lynn. Whatever the case is, he gave up the home run and everything and all that. He gave up the 6 runs, but it is what it is when it comes down to that. Maybe they just had his number on today's game, whatever the case is. But the team overall, the Dodgers have enough offense where they should be able to go in and bounce back, and they did. I mean, at the end of the day, we only lost by 1 run. But you would just want to see maybe some more production, maybe just the pitching staff getting more. What's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it's not the playoffs, so I really wouldn't expect them to go in and pull them right off the back or anything like that. But when it comes down to it, maybe to some people, some Dodger fans, this is going to be a little discouraging. But I really do think that the team can just bounce back. Mookie Betts has been on fire, and if this dude just keeps it up for the month of September, maybe cools down a little bit, so then that way he's nice and fresh for the playoffs or whatever the case is. But if he's on the tear and he's hot, keep it going. He finally ended up actually he surpassed his previous career high of 35 home runs for the season. Now at 36. I got to 35 with that 3-run homer, and then got to 36 with that solo shot later on in the game. So really just an overall great performance by him, great performance by both teams, honestly. In my opinion, I think this is going to be the National League Conference if we don't meet them before or something like that. But I think this is going to be the championship for the National League again. But it really is going to come down to just whose pitching is going to be better, who's going to have the hotter batters and everything as usual. That's how baseball just kind of goes. Whoever's hot at the moment is going to go and win. I'm just hoping that it is going to be the Dodgers. But it is a short amount of time now. I mean, today being September 1st, it's the very first day of September. September's just going to be all about wrapping up and finishing up, getting positioning and everything set up. I know the Dodgers are well above. I think it's almost like 8 or 9 games above, in first place from the Giants, I want to say, or was it the Diamondbacks? I don't even know who it was anymore. But you definitely can see how the team ended up working very hard in order to get to this position, and you definitely want to see that they continue this on. I hope it's not something where they flame out at the end, but it doesn't seem like this team is going to be doing that. Again, it's just one of the things that we have to go and continue to see as the season goes on, as postseason gets right around the corner. We'll talk more and more about that, about how this team looks primed and ready to go for the postseason, and we'll talk all about every single series after that. But until then, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you guys continue to enjoy the podcast. Make sure you let your friends, family members, loved ones, co-workers, everybody know about it. I would definitely appreciate it. But again, hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Hope you guys have a great Friday and a great weekend. It is Labor Day weekend, so you're definitely going to have some fun with the family, friends, loved ones, and all that. Have some good times. Hope you guys have a good one, but stay safe out there for everybody. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys most likely either Monday or Tuesday. Peace. Take care.